they can absolutely control the weather. So there's a lay individual that I've been watching for a few years. We need to get him on as a guest sometime, who a couple days ago, I guess he did this on the 14th, wow, and then the 15th, there's a bunch of these videos. He predicted exactly what was going to happen, and now they're taking his videos down all over the place, but they're still on X. So this is clip 3. TikTok just banned this video of the weather predictions I made. That's at Into Thin Air. And so here he is breaking this down. I can tell you what he's saying, according to all the experts I've talked to, literature. I mean, articles again like China making it rain with Doppler radar, Dubai turning desert green with Doppler radar. And so they can fry the atmosphere with this stuff and form nuclei and make a rainstorm out of nothing. They can also kill a storm. They can steer a storm. And I interviewed Dr. Ben Livingston, who was the father of weather weapons. He was a pilot in World War II doing it then. He was like 90-something when I interviewed him. I don't think he's still alive. He's still alive. He's like 110 now. Probably isn't. Fellow Texan. That interview's been posted to Band.video. Father of weather weapons. And it was declassified. So I got on the phone and called him. He lived up the panhandle of Texas. He flew him and his wife down, interviewed him. And then he said, I can't talk to you anymore after that interview. He got contacted by the Pentagon saying, Ben, you need to shut up. But he flew squadrons in Vietnam, leading them for Operation Popeye to flood things. I mean, this guy's the father of weather weapons. He was talking about Doppler radar, all of it. So this is a reality. Did this happen yesterday? Very unusual radar signatures showing up in the clouds from other radar that picked it up. And according to all the people and the experts to talk to, when you see one of these giant energy beams fire out, that's not how regular radar works, and it's way more pronounced than, again, the normal power of a Doppler system, and is more associated with the weather modification. So I lean towards this being manipulation going on. So let's go ahead and play that clip.
Look at the NextRad beams going off right where they're expecting these large tornadoes and severe weather. This is no coincidence whatsoever. They're doing this on purpose, and they do it often. We've been proving this time and time again. This entire area is being created almost as a force field, and I'm going to explain that all right now. Listen to this. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to do a quick forecast for this upcoming system that is apparently going to...
Start over. I want to explain to you this. He put this out 2 days before this even started. So, and he does this over and over again because they fire these up when the storms come in to control them, and he sees the activity just like I do and you do, and the engineers I've talked to do when this is happening. So they think we're dumb. They think we don't know what's going on. It is happening. Play it from the start.
The NextRad beams going off right where they're expecting these large tornadoes and severe weather. This is no coincidence whatsoever. They're doing this on purpose, and they do it often. We've been proving this time and time again. This entire area is being created almost as a force field, and I'm going to explain that all right now. Listen to this. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to do a quick forecast for this upcoming system that is apparently going to be affecting Texas and Louisiana pretty significantly, and we can already see it happening. And what I mean by happening is they are already manipulating this situation, and I'm going to show you exactly how they're doing it. Now, I know we have a pretty significant weather situation going on in Florida and some weird heat that went on overnight last night. I can explain that as well. But right now, I want you to focus on this big gap in between these two systems right now, the one that's coming in from the west and then the system we've just been dealing with. Take a look at this gap right in the middle of both of them. We have a counterclockwise spin effect going here, but at the same time, we have a clockwise situation going on right here. So picture this as two wheels, one spinning in the counterclockwise direction and then obviously the clockwise direction. And what we're going to do is explain how this system that's right here is going to eventually turn into a big tornado threat down in southern Texas, more so southeastern Texas, and then Louisiana the next day. This is over the next 3 days. So very quick, before I get into the details, one more time, watch this gap that is forming or has been formed in between System 1 and System 2, this clear line right here. We also have a lot of smoke in this area from the fires from Canada already. So we'll go through this quick, and then we're going to jump to the mosaic chart chart where we can see the NEXRAD tower. All right, so here we are. We are set up. This is May 13th going into current time the 14th. And right off the bat, I want you to notice the counterclockwise spin here and then the clockwise momentum here. I'll go back and we'll look at it together. You can see them spinning in different directions with the gap right down the middle. Now, this gap is here because they are creating this gap. And I'm going to show you exactly when it starts. Right about here, you start seeing a static buildup. We also saw a significant radar beam right there. There is nothing natural about this beam. It has a cause and effect. And then as we move forward, you're going to see the entire area here become all staticky. You're going to see these little blips. You're going to see each radar tower from Texas through Oklahoma all the way up to the Dakotas is going off at this point in time, creating a force field right in the middle of these two systems, one here and one here. Now stay with me here because you're going to see how this is going to affect the system on the west that is basically being put in a holding pattern until this system moves off into the Atlantic or enough out of the way to where it will no longer affect this side. So again, I show you they're creating this wall where weather does not want to survive. You can see it all building up here, all this little staticky looking stuff on the radar. That means all of these NEXRAD towers are being triggered at the same time. And now when we go back to this chart, it's going to be a lot easier to see what's going on here. So they want to separate these two systems, this one here and this one here, because if these two were to interact with each other, it would take away from the momentum that this storm is going to build up and then run across Texas in a counterclockwise motion after it fixes itself. Right now, it's in a clockwise momentum. And once this storm passes out this way, you're going to see this thing begin to spin in a counterclockwise direction. And it's going to start pulling up that moisture through Texas and Louisiana. And that is where we're going to get our severe weather on this next system that's up on deck. You can see they've already put out a risk map of this situation in the next 3 to 4 days. They're focusing on this more than they're focusing on the current weather in Florida. That should tell you something. This is going to be a significant weather event right here. As I said, eastern Texas into Louisiana. And of course, they dropped this chart as soon as I'm making this video. Watch this one closely. You can get a very good idea of all the action they're putting into the middle of the country right here. They are separating this system, counterclockwise motion, from this system, clockwise motion. So they are halting this system out here in order to separate any influence from this system. And once this is out of the way, this will begin turning counterclockwise and again pulling that moisture up through Texas and Louisiana. Look at the NEXRAD beams going off right where they're expecting these large tornadoes and severe weather. This is no coincidence whatsoever. They're doing this on purpose and they do it often. We've been proving this time and time again. This entire area is being created almost as a force field to prevent weather. And another thing to point out with this situation is you can actually see the weather fading away whenever it touches this part of the country, whether it's coming from the west this way or if it's backtracking from the counterclockwise spin of this system. Anything in here gets dissolved. You can see that right here as we move forward. They never touch the center of the country as both systems move. Not to mention, as I said before, we have a lot of smoke from Canada pouring down right into this gap here. And that is also a good storm preventer. That's the same situation that we see with the Sahara dust coming off the western coast of Africa and preventing hurricane. It's almost like a deterrent. So everything is set up right now for this new system that we're going to see in the next 3 to 4 days. And it's going to be a very significant situation for Texas and Louisiana and obviously the other states in this area. Oklahoma will be involved with this, Arkansas as well, and then we'll move into Mississippi and then the southeast again. This will be a more southern situation than what we saw getting pulled through Oklahoma and through Missouri over the last week or two. Please keep your eyes fixed on this situation, because over the next day or two, you're going to start seeing them blowing this up as a very significant storm. They're going to relate it to the last 2 weeks of weather we've had, and it's going to be another blockbuster type event that they're going to advertise on all the weather channels. And then, my friends, we got to start dealing with hurricane season, because if you want to see a movie legit on TV, that's what this hurricane season is going to be, just like a movie that they plan and put out to the public. All right, my friends, I appreciate you all. I'll be digging into this situation and putting out more updates as more time goes by, and we can see what these radar are actually doing to this system. But it's clear as day what's happening right now. A literal block going on down the center of the country to separate two systems to enhance the second system to the west for the near future into Texas and Louisiana. All right, my friends, thank you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's what he predicted 2 days before what hit yesterday took place. We'll show you both radar and satellite of the unprecedented 80 to 100 mile an hour winds. In Spanish, it translates into English as a strait. These do happen naturally, but they are intensifying, not just here, but similar patterns around the world. And then the globalists say, cut off your carbon, let us run your life, and everything will be okay, as they cut the energy off and more. So the whole thing is very, very suspicious. We're showing you your TV viewer footage of Houston. huge power lines knocked down, buildings with their windows blown out, just a lot of damage. Some areas devastated, flooding, people drowning. Reportedly no wind, 1 minute, 100-mile-an-hour winds. The next minute, buildings being blown over. Some of these high-tension power lines can take up to 160-mile-an-hour winds, what they're rated at. They were just crumpled down like Godzilla attacked them. We'll continue to watch all of this, but you have to say, is it a weather weapon? Because it exists and it's going on. And then we get hit by freezing temperatures. 2 years ago in Texas, the feds ordered the state not to increase power and cause the blackouts there. So they're administratively doing everything they can to pressure the population across the board.